What's going on, everyone? D. Anthony here. What we're going to go ahead and do is a live day trading kind of ideas smorgasbord, right? So what we're going to look at is a few of the stocks in the NASDAQ 100 that I like to trade. Consider this like watch list building. Consider this, technical analysis training. Consider this, getting some ideas on where we can potentially make some money long and short. So I'm going to start off with Meta. Only reason I'm starting off with Meta, very, very strong stock ever since those earnings. We had the big gap up. We ran into 244.92 today. 244 was the pivot to the long side, so there was about 90 cents worth of room there for if anyone caught it before it quickly kind of reversed. Now here's what I'm looking for on Meta. Okay, there's a gap to be filled, but I don't know if it's going to get filled. Okay, so what can happen in theory is we can definitely pull back and we can definitely lose the lows from the earnings high gap up, but we could come down into 234, 233 area and then reclaim it and continue to push higher. So what that would mean is that we never do fill the gap all the way back down to around 215, that we actually just kind of hang out up here until a later date. Now, if we were going to fill the gap, this is how the play would need to look. The play would need to come down to the 5-day moving average, which is currently sitting at 234. We would need to close below the 5-day moving average. When and if that happens, the next day would set up a short on Meta to the 10-day moving average sitting at 223. That's your play. Until then, it's still a bounce off of 234. And obviously, if we lose 234, our next bounce is 223. Keep those two levels in mind. If we do get the bounce off those areas, we can play those back up into 240s and then obviously hold a runner for the 245 break into 250s. Let's take a quick look at Apple. Apple, the same thing. Pulling back here, doesn't have any gaps to close. But if we kind of look at what Apple's been doing for the last month, it's essentially been riding this 20-day moving average. You can see coming from here all the way in March, where we're kind of coming off the 20-day moving average, and then we back tested it once, and then we put in a new high, and then we've back tested it twice, put in a new high, and you can see that we've now back tested the 5 as well as 10-day moving average, and the 20-day moving average is sitting at 165.37. If there is any more continued pullback in the NASDAQ 100 or the overall stock market, look to play the bounce between 160 and 165 on Apple. But again, being that today we did pull back and however are not going to be closing below the 5 or 10-day moving average, we've also got Apple earnings. So this is going to change drastically within the next 24 and 48 hours. Okay, so again, kind of a asterisk and a disclaimer with earnings. Things can get blown out and the 20-day moving average is no longer valid, or this can completely rocket and we could be looking at new highs 175, 180 on Apple. So we just need to kind of see exactly what's going on here with Apple after earnings. But if we do that high side break, if anyone's going to play earnings after the bell and you're going to play shares, 170.50 is your pivot point. We need to break that. We need to put in a new high, and then we need to kind of confirm that. Again, on earnings, it could just kind of shoot out. If you're looking to play options and you're looking to gamble, 170.50s strike prices. If you're long biased, if you're short biased, you're looking at something closer to 165. Those are to be the two strikes that I would be looking to play. But again, that's just me. And again, I do not play through earnings. I'd rather just wait till the next day. Let's look at Google very quickly. Google, another one of the big dogs, did come down today, also testing this bottom channel here. This bottom channel that we're testing is the linear regression. You can see for the past couple of months, every time we kind of come down into this zone, we bounce. We come down into this zone, we bounce. So we kind of came down into this zone again. Do we get another bounce? Is the bounce going to be just to the top of the range, which as of right now on Google, the top of the range is sitting anywhere between 108 and 109. We would actually need to have a daily candle close over 109 to start that next leg higher. If we are going to pull back and the market's going to, have test some more, lower supports, what we would need to do and see happen on Google is to close below 102.80. Okay, even below that, we've got support sitting at around 100. That's about a 10-point spread. So 8 points to be exact, 9 points, if you want to be particularly picky. But if we're looking at between $100 and 109, that's a 9-point move. $100 being the bottom of the range, 109 being the top of the range. We would need to break one of those in order for us to start another leg down or to start another leg higher. Everything else in between is we want to be selling at supply, meaning selling at resistance, shorting, covering in the middle, and then we want to be rebuying at demand, covering in the middle. When we get to the top, do the same process until we break out of one of those levels. Let's quickly look at Microsoft, and then we will wrap up this live day trading kind of technical analysis look. So I already had some previous breaks on here. Let me go ahead and take those off. So again, Microsoft, same kind of deal here, right? Come back down in, test its rising 5-day moving average. We're holding perfectly. So 3 days here, we're kind of just flagging to the top side. If we are going to short Microsoft, we need to break 303.30, okay? 303.30 is going to have some room down to around 293. Not saying we're going to get the 10 points on it, but if we can get 3, 4, 5 points on the way down, lock in those profits, kind of wait and see what we do once we get down to the 10-day moving average, that's perfect. If we want to play this to the top side, this is your bounce spot here. You would, if you're a short-term trader, you would use a stop under 303, and then as long as we're trading over 303, you're going to continue to ride this higher. We get the 309.18 break, and we could start a new leg higher. Let me quickly look at the weekly chart to see how much room we've actually got. So if you look at the weekly chart here, if we can break last week's highs sitting at that 309 level, we can push to 311, 312 would be the next area that I think we can push on. Let's quickly look at NVIDIA. We'll start off with NVIDIA's weekly chart. NVIDIA has been an absolute rock star. Today is the first day that NVIDIA is pulling back. So if we look at what's going on here with NVIDIA, kind of putting in a little bit of an inverse hammer candle here, we do got room to test into 273. So if we do pull back, it doesn't mean that anything has changed. The narrative is still the same. Bulls are still in control here. 273 could be a little bit of a pullback spot. If we look at the daily chart here, we're going to see a little bit of a different story here. On the daily chart, we're going to see a rising 5-day moving average that's sitting at a price of 278. So if we do come back and backtest 278, we're going to have some firm support there. What I would like to see on something like NVIDIA, we have this high here of 290. We pull back into the 5 and 10-day moving average. We consolidate maybe a couple of days, and then we get a nice push higher. It's going to be here when we push off of the 5, 10, and 20-day moving average. I'm going to set a low as my stop underneath that, whichever the low price was, whether it's a wick or a body. I'm going to set that price as my stop loss, and I'm going to swing this back up to the north side, hopefully trying to target that 290, 291. But I think NVIDIA is going to be looking at 300 very, very quickly, as long as nothing drastic happens in the market. I'm going to cut this video here. It's getting a little long-winded and overextended. With that being said, if you want more technical analysis like this and you actually want to trade with me live each and every single day, where I'm kind of going over this kind of levels in real time and making trades, entries, and exit in real time with the team over on Evolution Traders, definitely join the Discord. All of that information is down below. You can check out my websites and everything that I'm affiliated with, and everything that I'm about. But with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video.